Yo, what's up guys, Zing here, coming at you with a Photoshop tutorial. Today I'll be teaching you how to do a Gfuel advertisement similar to this one right here. So let's get right into it. So first you want to create a new document. Mine is 720 by 900, so the width is 720 and the height is 900. Go ahead and create that so that we got that. And then what you want to do is I'm using the battle juice render from Nathan. Go ahead and follow him. Here's his Twitter. He's got a bunch of different tubs. Go check him out on Twitter, give him a follow. I have his Twitter linked down in the description below as of where you can download this from his Twitter. I'll have that link down in the description. Go check him out. Coming in clutch with the renders. He doesn't have every flavor, but it is a lot of them. But today the one I'm using is the Battle Juice one, so I'm gonna press Alt on my keyboard and drag it up into my workspace, and then I'm gonna make this more smaller by pressing, for me it is Alt to keep it unison. If that doesn't work for you, you can press Shift and drag it down to make it more smaller. And I'm gonna get it to the size I like. I think about there or so is good. I think something like that. That looks pretty good. Maybe a little bit more bigger. All right, I'm gonna go with that. I think that looks good. Then on this bottom layer, I'm gonna change this to background. Name it background. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my my foreground color. I'm gonna select one of the pinks on the Battle Juice, and then I'm gonna drag it all the way to the top corner to get this more saturated color pink. Then I'm gonna press G on my keyboard to get the paint bucket tool, or you can go over to the left hand side and get the paint bucket tool. If yours is on the gradient tool, just right click and select the paint bucket tool in order to fill it. And then I'm going to make a layer right above the background. I'm going to name it shadow, as we are going to make the little shadow underneath the tub of Gfuel. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the left hand side where the rectangle tool is, and I'm going to right click and switch it to the ellipse tool. If you already have the ellipse tool, you don't have to do that. You can press U on your keyboard as the shortcut says right there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make an ellipse under the Gfuel tub, about the same width of the Gfuel tub, something like that. And make sure you switch your color to black in the foreground, otherwise it's gonna blend in, just like I did right there by accident. So there we go. We got the little shadow, but it doesn't look like a shadow yet. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna move it over slightly, because it is an angle. It's on a little angle, so move it over slightly, maybe move it down a little bit. Something like that. I think right about there is good. Maybe a little bit more over. And then what we're going to do is with the shadow selected, we're going over to filter, blur, and Gaussian blur. We will rasterize it. So before you do that, you can right click and rasterize it, or as the pop-up says. Then we are going to add this blur. I'd say around anywhere from 8 to 12 is good, depending on how blurry you want it. 12.5. I'm gonna do 11. I think 11 looks good for this. I think previously I did like 12.5. So now we got the shadow, we got the tub. Let's bring in the fruit pieces. So I just got these off of Google. Simple white background. What I'll do to get rid of the background is I'm gonna select my quick selection tool. Or you can get it by pressing W on your keyboard. And what I'm gonna do is rasterize the layer. So right click on the layer, rasterize it before I do anything. And I'm gonna select the pineapple. And I'm gonna go down to the bottom. And I'm gonna click the masking button to add a mask to it in case I wanna my selection is not clean or anything like that. I can make adjustments with the brush, white to add, black to erase. I'll automatically switch to those two colors when you select the mask. So now that I have the pineapple, I'm gonna rename it pineapple chunk 1, and I'm gonna make a copy for later. I'm gonna name it pineapple chunk 2. Boom. I'm gonna hide the second one. I'm just gonna deal with the first one right now. So I'll put this one on the right hand side at first. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna adjust the angle. I think I put it on an angle similar to the ones on the tub. So I'll match it. I think I matched it up with this one right here. Or a similar angle, so something like that. And then we're gonna make it more smaller. Drag it down. Maybe something around this, maybe a little more bigger. Something around there I think looks good. Then with this pineapple selected, I'm gonna go to filter, blur, and motion blur. Then I'm going to make the angle around 30 degrees and then the distance around 25 I think is good. For that, press OK. For the angle, I kind of want to match up. There's a little angle circle next to where you actually type in the angle. I kind of want to match it up similar to the direction of the pineapple for the motion blur, so it gets going in the right direction. At least that's what I try to do. And then so I'm going to unhide our second pineapple chunk, and I'm going to move it over to the left side. I'm gonna rotate it downwards. I want it facing away. Then just gonna adjust how I want it. I want it a little bit further up. Something like this, maybe a little bit bigger. Maybe like, say something around here looks good. And then I'm gonna do the same thing. Filter, blur, motion blur. I think that's good. I can leave the angle at 30. This little circle right here is what I was talking about earlier. I want to try to make the pineapple or this little line right here match up with the direction of the pineapple. Distance 25 looks good to me. Press OK. So next I'm going to bring in the pineapple rings that I had. Then I'm going to right click rasterize image, and I'm going to rename it pineapple ring. Boom. And then I'm going to get my quick selection tool, which you can also get by pressing W on your keyboard. And then I'm going to select the pineapple. To get rid of this white, all I'm going to do is press Alt on my keyboard and click around the pineapple ring on the white to get rid of all that white. Boom. Just like that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go down to the bottom and add a mask on it again. So just like that, it should look like that after you press the mask button at the bottom. And then I'm going to make a copy, rename it Pineapple Ring 2. Name our first one Pineapple Ring 1. Boom. I know creative with the names. We're gonna hide the second one. We're gonna take the first one, gonna rotate it something like that, make it more smaller so it looks like it's more out in the background. Something like that. Keep adjusting it as go. I want to put it in this corner, so I think something a little bit like that is good. Oh, I messed up, so now I gotta redo it real quick. Something around there, maybe a little smaller there, I say is good. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna select it, go to filter, blur, motion, blur again, but this time I'm going to change the angle to around -30 to flip it around. And then don't want to mess. We're gonna leave the distance at 25-ish. That angle again is -30 to match up with the direction of the pineapple. Which like direction it's moving / facing, since it's going this way. Like a diagonal going down from like left to right. Did -30. Unlike the other ones, which are going like upwards from left to right. So I did for that one. Now we're gonna take our second pineapple ring. I believe I put it on the right side. We'll make it much smaller to make it look like it's floating out in the background, and align it up with that in a way. Something like that, like it's flying out. Something, yeah, around about there looks good to me. And then I'll click it. Again, filter, blur, motion, blur, and then we are going to make this 30 degrees, and we're gonna lower the distance to like 15-ish. Looks good. Go with 15. So we got the rings, the pineapple rings in the background flying. We got the chunks up in front. So now what I'm gonna add is the text. So I'm gonna press T on my keyboard to get the text, little text thing, and then we're gonna click. The font I'm using is a Cumin Pro Condensed. It is the bold italic. And then we can click and type in use code, and you can put the code here, whatever code you are trying to advertise. Boom. Something like that. And press Command A. And then I'm gonna press the center align button to get it aligned with the center. This text is 10-point font, if that matters. And then what I'm gonna do is, I'm with my text tool selected, I'm gonna go over and I'm gonna select the text. I'm gonna change the color to a yellow, maybe a little more brighter. Bring it down a little bit. No, I think it was good up there. A little bright yellow to make the code pop out. You can also put the discount, whatever the discount price is, if you would like, or something like that. That's what I like. So we got the code at the bottom. Now I'm gonna bring in the Gfuel logo. Got the logo here. Then we're gonna put it up top so everyone knows that it is indeed Gfuel. Put it about right there so it's kind of in line. I know it's not like perfectly centered, but it's kind of centered in with the Gfuel tub, because the Gfuel tub is slanted, so it is in line with that. Maybe bring it down a little bit. Say about there is good. That looks solid. And so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make the lighting. So I'm gonna make a new layer right above our background layer. I'm gonna name it lighting. Boom. I'm gonna take a brush, press B on the keyboard, or go over to the brush tool. This brush is a soft brush, so hardness 0, size. I'm gonna make it a fairly big brush. Maybe something like this, or how you can make it bigger is you can hold Alt down and drag right or left. Right or left to make it bigger, up or down to change the hardness. So I think a brush size around here, so it's a little bit around the tub itself, something like that. Hardness to 0. The flow is also 100%, something like that. Oh, make sure the color is white. Boom, hit it with that. You got simple lighting to make the Gfuel tub pop. And then what we also can do is we can make a new layer above the tub and name it lighting around tub. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to press Alt on my keyboard, or not Alt, Control on my keyboard, and click on the thumbnail of the tub. And then what it's going to do is make a selection. I'm going to press B on to get my brush tool. I'm going to lower the size. Click off. I'll lower the size, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to also lower the flow around 50%. And then I'm going to add some lighting to the side of the tub. Something like that. Make it a little heavier here. Then put it around the sides. Add some depth. Make it look like the light is actually shining on the tub. And then a little bit on the top. Something like that. A little bit harder here. Erase that a little bit. There we go. I think that looks about good. Control or Command D on the keyboard. For the Mac users. And then earlier for the thumbnail, it's Control or Command and click for anyone who's using a Mac. And then that's pretty much it. There you go. That is the logo, and then or advertisement, not logo. And then what I like to do is I like to select them all, group them. Name the folder. So what you can do is if you select the top one and press Shift and select the bottom one, it should select them all. While you're holding Shift, so you have to select the top, hold Shift, select the bottom one, and then you press Control or Command G to group. So pretty simple. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hold down Alt, I'm gonna drag up to duplicate, and then so as duplicated, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna select all these again inside this folder, except now I'm gonna press Control or Command if you're on Mac, and then E to group them or to merge them all. And then I'm gonna name this find copy, boom. And then now to finish it all off, I'm gonna go to filter, with the fully merged one selected. I'm gonna go to filter, and then to camera filter raw, and then I'm gonna add a camera filter raw. You can press that to see the before and after of it. And then I'm gonna mess around with the I usually just do the basic ones, so the temperature, tint, exposure, contrast, add a little bit of contrast, add a little bit of highlights in there, some shadows, that make the whites white, the blacks black, add some texture, some clarity, a little bit of dehaze, take away a little bit of dehaze, I'll make it a little bit more vibrant, lower the saturation a tad, I think. And then you can see the before and after. You can go more in depth. There's all this other stuff. I usually just do the simple stuff. I think it's easier and it looks good. And then there you go. We got the final product, your Gfuel advertisement. You can do this with any tub. It doesn't have to be Battle Juice, but that's the flavor I decided to choose. But anyways, if you enjoyed the video, give it a like, subscribe, helps out the channel a bunch. I appreciate y'all watching. I'll catch you in the next one. See you out. Peace. Peace, peace, peace.